Peace, you know who this is. I want to give a special happy born day to Dot X. Salute, big homie. I like the way you've been wilding up the FBA goofies on X all this time. You've been doing your thing. I want to give you this little gift, help you, give you some more ammunition for your arsenal when you bombing on them. FBA is a hate group. It's basically a hate cult now because they have gone past group. They're a cult now where they have a leader who they claim is not their leader, who literally owns FBA, tells them what to do, what not to do. Who is FBA, who is not FBA. He contradicts himself constantly and they still follow him. The head goofy, Tariq. But anyway, I'm gonna show you this real quick. This is the complete timeline and history of this group, this cult. I got it just for you. And some people will say, well, I saw this already, whatever well, Dot X didn't see this already, and this is for him. And again, repetition is the father of learning. So we about to go watch this clip right now about the complete history and timeline of this group. So I want to take this time to actually explain how this whole ideology came to be. Because remember, FBA comes out of ADOS. It's a splinter group, but they still hold on to the ideology. So for you to really understand why FBA operates the way it operates and why they believe what they believe, we must first go back. I'm going to play a clip of Tariq Nasheed when he first started repping ADOS, then known as DOS.
Tonight. You say Yvette Carnell made up the DOS term. That's a good term. I'll take my hat off to her. The DOS term is a very good term. I actually like that. Descendants of slaves or descendants of slavery. Very good term. Now, I like that term. I have my differences with Yvette Carnell, but sometimes people do good things. I like that term. American DOS, descendants of slaves, descendants of slavery. All right. I'm here. That's a very good codified term. I like that. And we need to jump on terms like that. You dig? Shout out to Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. One thing I do commend them about, and Antonio, I've seen some of his videos. He brings good information. They speak up for the African or the Black American experience.
As you heard, family, Tariq is such a grifter that he was trying to steal the term, but somebody in the audience, several people actually, in the live stream audience, made it clear that, hey, that's Yvette Carnell's term. And he had to acknowledge it. You could see it in his face that he didn't want to do it, but he had to. He tried to steal the term in true grifter fashion. So, as time would go on, he got down with ADOS. He got down with them, and then he started trying to push his own thing, which at first was Native Black American, but then he realized, hey, I can't trademark this. So he went back, and he couldn't get that to pop. So he went back to ADOS, and then he came up with the bright idea of foundational Black American, something that he could trademark and he could push. And remember, when he did that, he was still preaching that foundational Black American and ADOS is the same thing. Two terms that mean the same thing. Before he started beefing with Yvette Carnell and ADOS, and he made it a full-blown splinter group, But he still held on to the ADOS ideology. And what is the ADOS ideology, and who is Yvette Carnell? Well, Yvette Carnell is the founder and leader of ADOS. This is her that you see on your screen right now with the MAGA hat. She created DOS, which now is ADOS, in about 2016, 2017. Around the same time, she was a board member for PIFA. What is PIFA? Progressives for Immigration Reform. And all you have to do is go to irs.gov and you can look them up. They're a tax-exempt organization. You can get their tax records. And then when you look it up, there you see Yvette Carnell, director. Yvette Carnell, secretary. Yvette Carnell, secretary again. That's right, Yvette Carnell. She was a board member, a high-ranking board member of a hate group. And some will say, well, show me that PIFA is a hate group. Because you're showing me that she's a board member, but you're not showing me that it's a hate group. Well, I'm going to do that for you right now. And we're going to start at the beginning with the man himself, John Tanton. He's now deceased, but he is the father of the modern anti-immigrant movement. Now, let's just read about him a little bit. John Tanton was the racist architect of the modern anti-immigrant movement. He created a network of organizations, the Federation for American Immigration Reform, the Center for Immigration Studies, and Numbers USA, that profoundly shaped the immigration debate in the U.S. About John Tanton. A retired Michigan ophthalmologist, Tanton had white nationalist beliefs and wrote that to maintain American culture, a European American majority is required. In his own words, I've come to the point of view that for European American society and culture to persist requires a European American majority, and a clear one at that. December 10, 1993, a letter to the late Garrett Harding, a controversial ecology professor. Now that we have learned about the racist architect of all this anti-immigrant bigotry that we see now we need to learn about the organizations he created and the networks that they spawn. Federation for American Immigration Reform. The Federation for American Immigration Reform, FAIR, is a group with one mission: to severely limit immigration into the United States. Although FAIR maintains a veneer of legitimacy that allows its principals to testify in Congress and lobby the federal government, this veneer hides much ugliness. FAIR leaders have ties to white supremacist groups and eugenicists and have made many racist statements. Its advertisement has been rejected because of its racist content. FAIR's founder, the late John Tanton, has expressed his wish that America remains a majority white population, a goal to be achieved presumably by limiting the number of non-whites who enter the country. One of the group's main goals is to upend the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, which ended a decades-long racial quota system that limited immigration mostly to Northern Europeans. FAIR's president, Dan Stein, has called the act a mistake. And now that we have some background information on FAIR, the flagship organization, now we're going to learn about PIFA's connection to FAIR. The same PIFA that Yvette Carnell was a board member of, that she only resigned from being a board member of after she got outed and exposed for being a board member of PIFA, and people started to realize, hey, PIFA is just a white nationalist front. And she left them to maintain some level of legitimacy, even though I don't understand how she could maintain any legitimacy for being a part of a white nationalist front group, especially at that high of a rank. Because there's no way you're that stupid that you didn't realize what was going on. You knew. But she left to maintain some level of legitimacy. But here, we're going to get some background information into PIFA. Many speakers at PIFA's events have links to John Tanton, the racist founder of the modern anti-immigrant movement. Representatives from Numbers USA and the Center for Immigration Studies, groups founded by Tanton, participated. The incestuous nature of the Tanton network was embodied in the person of PIFA's executive director, Leah Durant, who formerly was employed by FAIR's legal arm, the Immigration Reform Law Institute. FAIR, which the Southern Poverty Law Center lists as a hate group, was founded by Tanton, who still serves on the group's board. For a time, Durant also was a part of Choose Black America, a FAIR front group supposedly representing the interests of African Americans concerned with high levels of immigration. The group disintegrated not long after its first press conference, which was paid for and stage managed by FAIR. Now, why is this so significant? It's significant because it shows that, one, FAIR is a hate group, and PIFA is a front group for that hate group. So PIFA is also a hate group. And more alarming is that PIFA and FAIR both go out their way to create African American groups to be fronts for them. Because if you don't know, Leah Durant is black. And as you just heard me, they created a black group just for her. They have created, platform, hired, and just signal boost many black organizations. Why? Because their number one strategy is to make black people the face of the anti-immigrant movement. To say, look, it's not racist. Look, we got black people saying that we have a problem with immigration too. That's what makes this so alarming. That's their whole thing. Be anti-democrat and be anti-immigration. To make black people the front group for that. Now it's starting to click for y'all. Why ADOS, Freedmen, and FBA, all they talk about all day is anti-democrat nonsense, and they also talk about anti-immigrant nonsense all day. That's all they do. That's all they do. If you look at all their timelines, it's just about how do we attack the Democrats, how do we launder the behavior of the Republicans, and how do we attack immigrants, especially black immigrants. Because that's another way they can really prove that, hey, this is not racial, because not only are black people out in front of the anti-immigrant movement, they are also attacking black immigrants the most. So this is not racial. This is just, Americans being concerned about immigration levels. Now it's clicking, right? It's clicking where Tariq went from hitting colors to now he hates black immigrants. And he loves Trump and the Republicans. It's starting to click now. Remember, he got this ideology from Yvette Carnell. Yvette Carnell, who works for PIFA. She used to work for PIFA. Not just work for them, a board member of PIFA. A white nationalist front group that goes around creating black groups to launder their behavior. And to better show you another example of how PIFA and FAIR uses these black organizations and creates them, I'm going to touch on the Black American Leadership Alliance. And we're going to show you how PIFA uses them. What Bala did not say in that letter or during a press conference in April when it called itself the African American Leadership Council was anything about its provenance. There's a good reason for that. It turns out that Bala is simply the latest front group for FAIR, the flagship of a network of anti-immigrant organizations founded by the white nationalist John Tanton. When it first emerged in April, Bala was openly sponsored by another FAIR front called PIFA, purportedly an organization concerned about the environmental impact of immigration. As late as June, the media spokesperson and phone number listed on Bala's press releases were associated with PIFA. Bala is not the first African American front group formed by FAIR. In 2006, an organization called Choose Black America appeared on the scene. Its black members were selected, flown to press conferences in Washington, lodged there by FAIR. The group's spokesman was a white FAIR official. Though CBA fell apart soon after its debut, the Taunton Network's dream of appearing to represent a rainbow coalition did not die with it. In 2011, FAIR briefly sponsored Blacks for Equal Rights Coalition, a LA-based anti-immigrant organization that has been celebrated by the white supremacist Council of Conservative Citizens. Bala's members includes a familiar cast of Taunton allies, notable among them Leah Durant, an African-American lawyer who is also PIFA's executive director. Durant, who once worked for FAIR's legal arm, also spoke at the press conference held to announce the creation of CBA. As you've seen, family, this looks so familiar. ADOS, FBA, Freedmen, they're looking a lot like the CBA and Bala and all the other organizations. Because we didn't even talk about U.S. blacks, all that. And as you also heard, Tanton's dream was to create a quote-unquote rainbow coalition of anti-immigrantness. Where he and all his rainbow quote-unquote coalition consisted of was trying to hire black people and platform black people to be anti-immigrant and to spew racist white talking points about immigrants and say nothing about white immigrants. Attack Democrats and be silent on Republicans. Don't this look familiar? This is what I've been telling y'all for years. This has always been the case with this group. They are a hate group. As you heard, as you saw, they are a hate group, a hate cult. Like I said, now we about to get into some receipts from the horse's mouth, the leader's mouth, the founder, the owner, Tariq Nasheed. Yeah, that's who we about to see some receipts from right now. I'm giving you your own receipts, your own little compilation. Because I done gave Joe his compilation, DJ Academics, Math Hoffa. I could do this all day, compilation after compilation, to show you that this is not just some one-off thing. This is not just certain topics. This is what he does all the time. Just spread nothing but hate. And his followers just yum, yum, eat it up. Yum, yum, eat him up. So, I'm going to let you watch this real quick. Here we go.
Now, as we know, the fifth type of people we see, and I've been seeing this a lot, you got a lot of these immigrants, these Negro immigrants jumping in the mix, trying to dogpile on black folks. I see a lot of them running around. This ain't no conspiracy. Black folks ain't it. Black folks is the problem. Those immigrants couldn't wait to dump on black people. A lot of these immigrants could not wait to use this as an opportunity to dump on black folks and also to dog whistle to Zaddy. Ain't no conspiracy. Y'all better stop blaming these good white folks. Ain't no conspiracy. I've been seeing a lot of these foreign flags, these Caribbean flags on their profiles talking this stuff about how black folks is the problem and all this stuff. So we got to watch that.
At the same time, watch this. Watch some of the deception they'll put out. Like recently, have y'all heard these numbers that they have for AIDS in Atlanta? They said like the AIDS rate in Atlanta is like the new AIDS cases are like 70%, something like that. You got to watch stories like that too. You got to watch stories like that. They said something to the effect of AIDS with women in Atlanta has increased 70%. Not that 70% of the people have AIDS. I think it increased by 70%. And as a matter of fact, let me look up the exact way, because they spin these numbers. Y'all got to be very careful. And then we're going to break that down. 1 second. Hold on. Y'all watch how they use these numbers. All right. Okay, I'm looking at one thing, and it says, and this came out a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta, it says, Atlanta's HIV epidemic compared to third world African countries. The deadly disease is rampant in metro Atlanta, and scientists are calling it an epidemic. Okay, come on, dang it, right. We spoke with researchers and doctors that said Atlanta is the epicenter of that epidemic, and comparing some neighborhoods to developing African countries. Just look at it. They interviewed somebody, some dude. You wouldn't know he had AIDS. He's muscle bound, but he found out he was HIV positive 20 years ago. Some guy impacting Atlanta. I'm trying to see the 70% thing. Okay, where's the 70% thing? No, it ain't. No, I don't think it's 7 out of 10 women. I don't think it's that. I'm just trying to see where the 70% thing comes from. And again, remember, that's down there. Atlanta's down there it's where the CDC is. Okay. I'm trying to see where that 70% thing, and there's a couple of other YouTubers promoting that 70% thing, and I'm trying to find initial or official numbers on it. Black women, okay, I'm looking at something here. Okay, yeah, they're really trying to promote this bullshit is really a lie. But I think it's 70% of new cases.
of new cases. And that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. Okay. 70% of new cases in Fulton County. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay. All right. Now let's break that down. Now, is it all the way up to 70%? I don't know if it's that high. It might be. I don't know. But the thing we got to understand is this. Same thing. Remember some years ago, and I look at patterns. Remember some years ago, it was D.C. who had those high numbers. In Washington, D.C., there were a lot of high numbers of black people with AIDS being reported in Washington, D.C. I remember that back in I want to say in the 90s, early 2000s. They were doing that with D.C. and now Atlanta. So what it is, the reason why some of those numbers jump up, 70% of cases in Atlanta are black. This is the thing. A lot of that, and this is what they don't tell you, a lot of that comes from immigration. In Houston, too. D.C., Atlanta, Houston. Not just major black cities, but notice these cities with a high wave of immigration from so-called third world countries. That's where a lot of these numbers come from. And remember, D.C. has a lot of immigrants, a lot of black immigrants who come over. Atlanta, there's a lot of immigrants coming to Atlanta from African countries. There are people who have AIDS in other countries who come over here. And what happens, they don't count them as immigrants. When other people come to America from African countries, they just count them as black. They don't count them as something else, or they don't differentiate them. You understand? Yes, Ethiopia, all those Ethiopians who are in D.C., heavy. In Houston, you got a lot of African immigrants down there in Houston. Atlanta, you look at Atlanta, you look at those housewives shows, everybody's dating some African dude. On all those shows down there, they dating some African. That's because there's a lot of African immigrants down there. I'm not saying all Africans had AIDS. I don't like to fall into that bullshit stereotype, but there are people who come over. Some of them come over from third world countries, and they count them all in with black Americans. They don't differentiate between nothing. So that has something to do with the high rate being counted. So you got to understand the trick bag. Think about that. See, they're not putting that together for you. Think about that. Man, Houston is full of African immigrants. Houston is full of African immigrants. You dig? Atlanta is too. You dig? That's why they said the epidemic is similar to a third world African nation, because they're letting people from third world African nations come in there. But before you can come to America, they drug, disease, and screen. Do you think so? Somebody said before you come to America, they drug and disease screen you. Dude, do you know there's people that came over here with Ebola? You think they catching everybody? You think they gonna screen and test everybody for HIV? You dig? And sometimes the shit ain't detected in certain tests right away. You dig? Man, I'm telling you, look at the patterns. When you see these waves, there's people ignore the similarities. I know for a fact in D.C., there was a wave of immigrants coming over there from Africa,
And the AIDS rate was real high, reported in DC. They're not letting you know that. They're not showing you the correlation. They're not showing you the correlation. So y'all think about that. You said that's some BS I'm spewing? How? No, y'all, somebody blocked them, but no, I would, if I'm saying some bullshit, what's the bullshit? What did I say that wasn't true? Hold on, no. I would like for somebody to tell me to say I said some shit that wasn't true. A real talk charm. She said HIV can lie dormant. Absolutely. What the hell am I saying that's not true? What the hell am I saying that ain't true? You know? Where's the damn lie? Lots of Africans don't have AIDS. Not saying that. I'm not saying lots of Africans have AIDS. I ain't saying that at all. I am not saying that at all. I ain't saying all Africans have AIDS. I ain't saying that. But there's a damn big correlation with people coming over from third world countries that have high AIDS rates, and they're getting over here. If you think that dude with Ebola, because a dude did come over and he had Ebola and they had to quarantine, all that shit. If you think he can get through and others can't, come on, you ain't being real. I ain't implying shit. I'm telling you facts. There are people who come over from third world countries in Africa and the Caribbean, and they come over here and get counted in the black population. These are facts. You might not like the fucking facts, but people come over here and they get counted into the black population. And whatever they bring gets attributed to black society. So they come over here and they got some kind of disease, and those countries, some of those countries do have diseases, unfortunately. That's a reality. Let's stop being dumb. I've been to Africa, love the brothers and sisters over there, but they got countries over there where AIDS is rampant, unfortunately. Did the white supremacists bring that there? Yes, they did. This is why we, black Americans, we get confused, like, what the fuck, who got it? What all this AIDS doing over here? Like, what the fuck? That's why it's so confusing to a lot of us. Like, oh, how do these women get AIDS? Well, what women are they counting? They're not telling you that a lot of these are immigrants. They're not telling you that. They're not telling you that. And that's a reality. That's not shade. Nobody's shitting on nobody, but that's a reality. You did? Yeah. And somebody said, well, they check and see if they got diseases. Let me tell you something. Not only can it lie dormant, think about it. If they came over here and they found out that shit, a whole tribe, a village of people got AIDS, they know they just gonna come over here and just get into black society. So what would stop them? You know, let's think about that. Let's put your thinking caps on. They know when African immigrants come over here, they're not going nowhere, but they're going to come right among black society. They're going to come right among black society. They know that. They ain't going to really, do they really give a shit? Rudy P. Magic, we talking facts. This ain't no finesse. This is facts, my nigga. We ain't talking, I'm talking facts. Yeah? They ain't going to tell us. Man. Anywhere with a large black male gay population is open to having higher HIV rates. But the women are the ones getting it. This is what they're saying. That's the thing. You're saying gay black men, but the 70%, that's on the women. You dig? The 70%, that's on the women. So explain that. See, that's why the shit ain't clicking in. It ain't making no sense until you start putting your own factors to it and putting two and two together yourself. You dig? See, what they would do for a long time, they would try to put it on, they would blame down low men, which was another way for them to kind of shit on straight black men. They're niggas who are living straight, but they're undercover, down low gay, and they're really giving women AIDS and all this old shit. You better look into the immigrants that's coming over. You better look in that. That's why they're using terms like third world African country. There's a reason why they're using words like that. There's a reason why they're using words like that. You dig? The women in Atlanta are sharing partners. That's why it's going at them in a higher rate. That could be. The down low brothers. The down low thing could be a factor. That could be a factor. But I look at patterns. And when I see certain cities, they have a high influx of immigrants in black society, then all of a sudden the AIDS rate just coincidentally goes up. This happens too many times to just be a coincidence. If I see something happening over and over again, I don't think that's a coincidence. It's like AIDS in Houston. AIDS was real high in Houston. And Houston is not really known to have a big gay population like that. A big black gay population like that. You dig? Man. Bill Gates did an interview this morning where he stated countries in Africa need to be the main focus of the world due to poverty and disease. Well, they're just trying to get people off the continent. They're just trying to get people off the continent. Yeah. Well, you're just saying the same shit over and over without offering a counter. William Cassell, you're just saying the same shit without countering what I'm saying. You got to counter what I'm saying, brother. Just, I'm saying some shit because you say so. That's not going to work. You know? HPV, killing black women. Okay. Man. What's that, Ayanda? But, yeah, it's real crazy. It's real crazy. So we got to look at patterns. And I ain't saying all Africans have no damn AIDS. I ain't saying that. I'm not saying that, but I'm looking at patterns. I look at patterns, and I look at immigration patterns, and I look at how it affects us. I always look at how immigration affects us, who's being counted as black, who's not, what's affecting black society. I drop all that in, and I look at all that. And every time, from what I've noticed, when there's an influx of immigrants coming into certain cities among black society, all of a sudden the disease rates start going up, like AIDS and shit like that. I just see that pattern over and over again. You did? Man. So we got to understand the game for what it is. And we got to understand, real information and fake information. So that's a theory. Look into it. Look into that theory. That's a theory that's never discussed. That's one theory that's never discussed. Look into it and just kind of put it up to a test. Just put it up to a test. I watched some of the verses. I did, man. Oh man, the Bay Area is so slept on. Shout out to Too Short. Shout out to E40, man. They did a phenomenal job. Even before they went on, the DJs were playing a whole bunch of classic Bay Area boppers, dude. That Bay Area stuff, boy, reminded me of the old players I used to hang with back in the day. I hung around a lot of Bay Area players, man. Shout out to the Bay. The Bay is so slept on. Shout out to those brothers, man. Those brothers, what I respect about the Bay, man, those brothers are, they understand the independent hustle. They understand knowing how to go out there and grind and get it on your own and get your own movement without going to the record labels, asking for deals and all this old stuff. The Bay, those cats will go out here, get their money up, go out here and get something popping and get it hot on the block. And they created their own cottage industry out there, man. It's real fly. And you got to understand, a lot of cats from the Bay, man, a lot of people are foundational Black Americans coming in from the South. A lot of people in the Bay Area are from actually from Louisiana, Mississippi, places like that. There was a migration to California right after World War II. So you got a lot of brothers and sisters with roots in the South. That's why Master P was going back and forth from Louisiana up there to Richmond. There's always been that connection. And foundational Black Americans, we know how to get it. You understand? We know how to get that shit. We know how to get it. You better learn from those cats out there in the Bay and down south and the whole shebang. If you look at the hip hop game, look at the people, and this is not to shade anybody, by the way. Look at the people who were independent label owners and the people who really just went out and got deals. Starting in the 80s, all the way through the 90s on the East Coast, we got to understand a lot of cats were from other places, and that's not a diss to them. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to go get a deal at certain major labels to get your shit out. There's nothing wrong with that. But, there's a lot of immigrant classes out there on the East, so a lot of them would just go to the record labels and, try to audition and get a deal with Def Jam or Warner or Universal, stuff like that. There was nothing wrong with that. A lot of people came up off that. But in the South, you had Jay Prince. You understand? In the South, you had Tony Draper. You had Master P. You had a lot of cats in the South who knew, okay, let me start my own label. Let me start my own shit and get my stuff hot. I can go out here to the radio stations. I know the club owners. I can go out here to the clubs and get it popping. Another cat, real good friend of mine, Tony Mercedes. A lot of people sleep on Tony Mercedes. Tony Mercedes was responsible for a lot of hit records in the 90s, a lot of, big platinum records. And he was working independently, but he worked with some of the majors too. But a lot of people sleep on Tony Mercedes. So there's a lot of cats out there in the South. I talked about rap a lot, Tony Draper, all those cats. So all going back here, out on the West Coast, you had Eazy-E. He's the foundational Black American. Eazy's, he's the foundational Black American. Eazy started his own label and got it popping. And truth be told, you want to go there, we look at Death Row, even though they took it somewhere else, they took it to another plateau, But even Death Row got it popping, Record said he got the game from the West. You say Jay-Z said he got the game from the West Coast and the South. And what's interesting with that Reasonable Doubt album, he went to Priority, which is where Master P and all the other independents were going. They went to Priority. They came out here to do that deal at Priority Records. And let's be clear, like I said before, a lot of the bedwenches that you see, most of them are foreign flag. Let's be real. When you see all of these tweets going viral and all that, ooh, girl, congratulations, girl, let's be real, most of that comes from foreign flag Twitter.
Most of that zaddy worship is coming from them. When you look at their pages, you look at the flags, and let's just keep it a buck. Because these folks come from countries where they just see nothing but black people. So whenever a white person shows up, the white person is a Jesus figure. So from a child, they grow up to look at white people like gods. I've had brothers and sisters from over in Africa tell me this. I met a brother when I was in Amsterdam. He was from Ethiopia, and he told me, and I had a video of it. I got to find it again. He said, hey, brother, I grew up over where I was in Ethiopia. I looked at white people as gods. But when I saw Hidden Colors, the information made me have seizures. The dude had seizures because he watched Hidden Colors and the information was so heavy. And he admitted that he grew up looking at white people as gods. You understand? This brother said that. I respect him for being honest. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Hit the thumbs up button while y'all here. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button, too. Yeah? So he had seizures that ran a marathon. Yeah, during when I was up there in the UK and when I was in Amsterdam. So let's be real. A lot of them have that zaddy worshiping syndrome. And we got to watch that. See, we got to watch people. See, I'm taking note of all the people I see with all this zaddy worship. I'm looking and seeing where they're coming from. All these people out here worshiping zaddy, I'm seeing where they're coming from. I'm seeing what countries they're coming from. I'm studying them. And we need to study that.
Yeah, we do need to study that. We need to study you, how you just sold out like that. And we need to study all of y'all, how y'all just fell for this like that. But anyway, I'm not going to hold you too much longer. Shout out to Sadat X. Happy born day again, beloved. You know, keep doing your thing. Keep enjoying your time. Don't let none of these bozos try to get underneath your skin. I know you're not letting it happen, but make sure you don't let it happen. And always remember, they're a hate group. They're the stupidest motherfuckers on this earth. I ain't mean to curse, but hey, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here. Like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment, tell me what you think. Make sure you donate to me if you can. Family, make sure you share this video. Make sure you hit that bell. That's most important right now. Hit that bell. And make sure you really, really, really thumbs up this video. Because I'm seeing people watch the video. They comment in it, which is good. I need the comments for the algorithm. But also, remember, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And I'm going to end this video here. Like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment, tell me what you think. Make sure you donate to me if you can. And on that note, family, peace.